But we also got the coaches to come on and join us here. And so we'll get some conversations with the coaches walking the sidelines for the 1A and the 2A state championship games. This is our 1A edition. And if we're starting off the 1A coaches, Mitch, we got to bring in Lena-Winslow head coach Ric Arand. So, Rick, thanks for being here. And, this is the time of year where, families get together and there's always those, people see each other once a year. This is our connection. I think we get together once a year and get to, talk and reconnect. So this is kind of our family reunion here.
Right. Yep. This is our Thanksgiving. And
yeah.
Don't kid yourself. We probably like each other more than we like some of our family, right? I can't complain.
You like talking football more than some of my family members, so I'll take that. But
there you go.
No, so welcome. Thanks for being here. I'm excited for this week. And, like I said, every year, Lena-Winslow, you guys find yourselves back in that state title game again this year with an undefeated record. But every year is a little bit different. Tell me about this team, what the makeup of this team, the character of this team looks like.
Well, coming into the year, back up a year ago, we got beat in the state championship game. And at that time we had 7 juniors, eight juniors, I believe, that would be coming back this year as seniors. And 2 of them decided not to come out. So we're immediately down to 6. And we kind of knew that right off the bat. And right away, following the week following our state championship game, those guys came to me and wanted to start getting in the weight room, which usually I'm like, let's wait till after Christmas, get everybody a little break. They didn't really want to do that. So then, we got started right away. And then come springtime, most of our kids are 2 and 3 sport athletes, and baseball and track are both pretty big here. So most of them were in a spring sport. And then they decided they wanted to start working out at 6 a.m. before school a couple days a week. And that really put a damper on me, because I like getting up in the morning, but it's like, if we don't have to, if we can get this done after school, why not do it? So we did that, and we basically had everybody involved, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and they took the lead on it, and they were pushing kids, and we actually it was a great time. We did it Tuesday, Thursday mornings, whether they had a track meet or a game or not. We lightened the load if they did for those guys, and but it really brought those guys together, and it showed the leadership of what is now our group of seniors, and they've been great. They've been nothing but great from, the day after the state championship game last year and on. And it's just a great group of kids. And like I said, there's only 6 of them. So it's been kind of special, because usually we're in that 15, 16 range of number of seniors every year. And so it's been really special. And then this junior group really fit in good with them. We knew that the junior group was fairly talented coming in, and they've been nothing but great for us as well. And so the whole dynamic of it, was kind of neat to see come together.
Yeah, to see the players really take the lead on that. I heard that in your media call with the IHSA, and I thought that really stood out to me, that, players really took the lead in a program where there's high expectations, and to see the players step forward and say, we want to get better and improve ourselves is something, I think that speaks highly of them. Talk about these 6 seniors. I read a stat on social media that when they've been involved in the program, freshman year through now, they've played the maximum number of games that a high school football player can play. Is that 56 games? So win or lose, they played every possible week they could in high school athletics. That is remarkable. It says a lot about your program and a lot about those kids.
Yeah, and I tell them all the time, there's probably not a whole lot of kids in the state that can say that. Probably none, actually. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure. Is Joliet Catholic going to be there 3 years in a row or 4?
We were just talking about it on our regular episode, that maybe you start talking about, like, they have been 3 in a row, maybe somewhere down the line, like Addison Driscoll, when they were rocking and rolling, they probably had a stretch where they did it, but there are very few and far between.
Yeah, I think Rochester went to 5 straight, but it's not many.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our kids, as freshmen, we give them the opportunity to dress for the playoffs, and we don't make it mandatory. Some kids would rather get started with basketball season, but this group has always taken that opportunity to do that. And, they've just been nothing but great. Yeah. 56 games over the course of 4 years. That's a lot of football,
Yeah.
And just kind of shows their commitment. And yeah, like I said, yeah, they've been absolutely nothing but great. And even though there's only 6 of them, that's it's 10 starting positions out of our 22, because 5 of them start both ways, and we have another one that plays a little bit. He's kind of almost a Swiss Army knife. He can play offensive line, tight end, D line, D end for us. He does a little bit of everything. So between the 6 of them, we've gotten a lot of mileage out of them. That's for sure.
Well, and one more question for me, then I'll let Mitch jump in. How much does that experience help this group?
Oh, I think it's huge. They've been through all of that. They know what the freshmen are going through. And as a freshman, it's kind of tough. Today it's going to be pretty darn cold out there.
Yeah.
Standing at practice, and but they've been through all of that. And we went on the road to Leroy last year. Well, they've been on the road in semifinals and quarterfinals and stuff before, so it really wasn't a big deal. And they kind of all week long they kind of thrived on the fact that they knew Leroy would have a huge crowd there. A huge outbringing from their community. And of course, we had a good sized crowd too. But anytime you go on the road 3 hours, you're not going to get your normal crowd, And so they were just kind of relishing in the fact that there was going to be a huge crowd there, whether it was for them or not. And it's just fun to play in that atmosphere. So the experience is, you can talk all you want about experience or non-experience, but experience is really second to none.
Yep. Mitch, what do you got for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, I was going to follow up on some things that you talked about yesterday in the media all call. Certainly when we're talking keys to this game, you've had another day of prep, another day of film, maybe to watch this all tough team. I know you had mentioned, obviously, they're all of their skill players and how you want to limit their opportunities in space, but maybe now a day later or just in general, how are you guys preparing for this matchup?
Well, Hill didn't get any slower overnight, I can tell you that. Just, we started our game planning yesterday during practice, with our kids, and I guess it started in film Sunday, but on the field stuff started yesterday, and we did change a few things as we got going. You always looking at things on paper always aren't as they appear, and you're always making changes. But I think our game plan is going to be the same. I think from an offensive and a defensive standpoint, we can't sit back and be in awe of them, of their size and of their athletic ability. And we've played bigger teams over the years, and the best thing we can do, or the best thing we've always done, is just continue to do what we do best, and that's just play attacking style football. And I think you have to do the same on defense as well. I think if you give Hill, for example, and he's not the only one, they got playmakers all the way across the board, but if you give him space and you give him a cushion to work with, and as opposed to attacking him, he's got you right where he wants you. If you give him the space and you try to surround him and things like that, but I think you really have to just go out and attack him and maybe make him make a cut before he really wants to. And in looking at everybody else's film, I don't really see that on there. I see people kind of surrounding him and trying to contain him, and he's just going to change direction. He's going to make one cut and be gone. And he may do the same thing against us. I'm not really sure, but I know this is we're going to attack him, and we're going to attack the quarterback. We're going to attack their wide receivers, and at least make them make a commitment one way or the other, and not let them play our defense the way they're playing other people's.
Coach, do you speaking of game film, have you watched anything from when Camp Point Central played them? I know that, Althoff got the upper hand this year, but Camp Point Central got the win a year ago. And I know you're, friends with Coach Dixon. Have you talked to him about what they did last year to kind of slow them down, or kind of, just work to their advantage?
Yeah. I would say Camp Point was real comparable last year to more like what we are this year. Last year, we were pretty one-dimensional with Gage Dunker at fullback. And this year, we have some speed on the perimeter. We have a few more weapons. I think we're more athletic than we were. And so we have seen that game film. I have texted back and forth with Coach Dixon a little bit. and gotten his opinion on some things. But really what they did best, if you look at their game with them last year, I believe it was at the quarterfinals, was they attacked them on offense and defense. And we kind of had that in our game plan going in, but then seeing them operate on film from last year, and Althoff's added a lot more weapons since then too, and they've added a lot more size. I know that the team looks a little bit different this year than it did last year, but I think the grand scheme of things is going to be the same. I think it's going to be the quarterback and the running back that do the majority of the work for them.
Go ahead, Mitch.
You touched on this too in the all call yesterday. Talk about Coburn Lynch, a guy who you relied on a lot last year, and then coming into this year expecting to have a fantastic season with your group. And then football happens, right? The second practice of the year goes down with a knee injury. But talk to us about what that experience has been like, how he's been involved with the team, and kind of his road back to where he's back starting on defense and being an asset on offense too, and special teams.
Yeah. He was such a huge part of our team last year. And I really think he was one of the two best players in the whole conference coming back into this year. And he had gotten so much bigger, faster, stronger. He's a workaholic. He really gets after it in the weight room, and he's a 3-sport athlete, great basketball player, great outfielder for our baseball team. He kind of does it all. And that second day of practice, it was a non-contact drill. He was just out in space and made a cut, and you just never know. And so that was a huge letdown for our team when that happened. And really, I'll be honest with you, really in a small town like this, it's almost a letdown for your community. You see people in the gas station or grocery store, and they're like, Coburn tear his ACL, and you're just kind of like, yeah. It's kind of a downer for everybody. And so it was probably a week, 6-7 days maybe of practice later where he had made the decision to try to come back and was fitted for a brace. And in that time, though, we were doing sprint work on the track before and after practices and things like that. And he was down there doing sprint work with us. So here's a kid with a totally torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus, I believe. And he's going through sprint work like he never missed a beat, like nothing's wrong. And then finally, once he got it braced, convinced his parents to do that, he came back, and that was a huge lift for our team. And then the first game he played in was week 4 against Dakota. Played a little bit on defense, a couple plays on offense. He was just happy to be out there. We were happy to have him. And to be honest with you, as of week 4, 10 weeks ago, we didn't know if it'd really go any further than that. And then just as the weeks went on, he's the first kid. I'd get here at school, and he'd be the first kid at school when I got here at 6:30, 6:45, getting his work in, whether it was icing, heating, biking, lifting, whatever. And so he's totally earned his way back and deserves to be here. But just him, his personality, his leadership on the field, his physical abilities, they've been a huge lift for us the entire season. And, he's going to get more touches on offense this week. This is the end of the line for us. So whatever we got to do, we got to do. And we kind of told him all year long, this was how it was going to be. We'll use you on defense. Not that you can't get hurt on defense, but at least nobody's attacking you as you would be as an offensive player carrying the football. And even on the sideline when he's like, hey, coach, you want to put me in on offense? I'm like, no, Coburn, we're good for today, but tomorrow's another day. We'll live to see another day. And I said, as we go down the road, you're going to be a bigger factor. And, we started playing on special teams, returning kicks, playing a little bit on offense, and, he's full-time on defense. So I'm just really happy for him.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great story. We'll be watching for it for sure during that state championship game. Coach, you mentioned the speed training, and I know Mitch has got questions for you about that. So go ahead.
Yeah, I couldn't get you off the phone, Coach, without asking about, my guy, Coach Rickles. What has he brought to the team over the years? But more maybe not more importantly, but more on your end as a head coach of this program, was it a big change for you to adopt more of that speed training into the program, or how has that all kind of come together over the years?
You know what? Austin's been around for so long now that I can't really remember what it was like. But you know him as well as I do. He's always looking to better himself, make everybody around him better. He cares so much about our kids, our program. He teaches at UW-Platteville now, still lives in our community, teaches at UW-Platteville, about an hour and 15-minute drive north and west. He'll go through Lena to Platteville, come back for practice, and, move on with his day from there. But he packs everything in early during the day for his stuff at Platteville, and they've allowed him to do that to continue to coach. He's still our head track coach. As he has evolved as a track coach over the years, and he was always involved in our summer strength program, which in the past we'd always done a lot of running, we'd always done a lot of sprinting and things like that. But he just kind of took it to the next level. And when he and I decided to go to wasn't a Feed the Cats, it was a track and football consortium in Chicago. It's been quite a few years ago now, the first one we went to, and he talked me into going to that, and it was the weekend following state championship, whatever year that was, and we've kind of been hooked on that ever since. Kind of attracted to Tony Holler, who kind of runs that. Brad Dixon is now the Feed the Cats guy, and we were actually involved with it at about the same time as that evolution began, if not a year before, and that's all due in large part to Austin. He has all these ideas, and so for our summer program, I just told him, I'll take care of the weight room part of it, and I'll give you the track part of it, and you go from there. And to be honest with you, it's been a perfect marriage. We spend as much time on the track as we do in the weight room in the summer. For example, our varsity kids, they start on the track at 6 a.m. and you don't dare be late. And I'm probably a lot more forgiving on the lateness than Coach Rickles is. And and our kids will not be late because they don't want to disappoint him. And they know how much it means to him. He's a volunteer on our staff now, paid track coach, but volunteer on our football staff. And so our kids start on the track at 6 a.m. They don't get into the weight room till 6:45, and they're out of here at 7:30. So it's an even 45 minutes on the track for speed work, and it's an even 45 minutes in the weight room for strength training. So it's been a perfect marriage. Some of the stuff that he does, I'm not always down there. Sometimes I'm in between, still getting stuff ready. So when I see our speed prep before football practice, some days I'm like, oh God, when did we start doing this? But it's really been a great thing, and he really enjoys it. And I hope he's here long past I am, because I won't have to learn to do any of that stuff.
There you go. So you were awfully nice to him during that segment, because him and I are jockeying for fantasy football playoff positioning, so I wouldn't have been as nice. So
gotcha. Yeah.
Well,
no,
Coach,
great guy, great asset to our program.
And those are the people you need. I mean, I think that's what makes a program, right? It's the people that they put in the work, and they want to make everybody better. Like you said, everybody around them. So, Coach, I've heard you say it, a million times, it seems like, over the years, and it's the cliche, right? It's one game at a time. And I think people see Lena-Winslow and think like, how do you possibly go one game at a time when the expectations are there? You're going to state for the 5th time. What is the mindset of this team and of this program, and how do you manage that expectation versus the execution week in and week out, making sure you keep playing at that high level and getting the job done?
Yeah. I don't know. I get asked this question a lot, so it's hard to answer, because to be honest with you, I really don't know.
Yeah.
It really is a one game at a time. Early on during our season, and I guess I can look back on that and go, yeah, we were at Morrison week 1, and watching Morrison on film from the year before, because obviously we didn't have anything else for him. Week 1, I'm thinking to myself, how do we contain these guys? How do we possibly all that speed that they have, all those sprinters from track and field. How do we contain those guys and get out of there alive, And then a few weeks later, we're undefeated, and we're looking at the next team on our schedule. And there are weeks that go by, might get to Tuesday and somebody will say something about next week. And I'll be like, I got to look at our schedule to even see who we're playing, because I really don't know. But it truly, in our conference, I truly think it is a 1 week at a time thing. There's not too many games you can look at and go, you know what, I think by like Thursday we could start working on next week because this is going to be a laugher or something like that. And there's been probably half the games we played this year that I've gone into going, I don't even know how we can compete with these guys, the Dupex of the world, the EPC, Stockton this year. They're all so good. And even last week going to Leroy, I had no idea how we could move the ball on them, how we could stop their triple option. And, lo and behold, we go down there and we play really well. And it definitely wasn't a laugher. They were tough. And the game was actually a lot more difficult than what the score was. But the same thing this week. I don't know how we're going to stop their speed. I don't know how we're going to move the ball against their size, but we're going to do our best to figure it out, and put our kids in the best position possible to be successful. And I think that's all you can do. You got a group of kids that are dependent on you week in and week out, and you don't want to let them down. You don't want to let their families down or the town of Lena down. So you put your nose to the grindstone, you do the best you can. And, if you can walk out of that game, that's what I told the kids yesterday. If we can put our best game on the field and all tough beats us, we can walk away from there feeling pretty good. But what you don't want to do is, as a coach or as a player, have any regrets. Wish that you would have spent a little more time on this. Wish you would have put a little more time in the film room or on the practice field, in the weight room, whatever it might be. You got to put your best foot forward, put those kids, your community in the best place that you can for success. And if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. Somebody beat you.
Yep. No, I think that's great. Yep. And, good luck this Friday. Obviously, it goes without saying, I enjoy covering your program. Since we've started this podcast, you've been, you're the coach who's been on more than anybody else. So that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing for your program.
Because I'm the oldest and the dumbest one around to still be in this profession, right?
No, absolutely not. It means you're winning football games. So no, we appreciate it, Mitch and I. And, good luck. We'll see you on the sidelines at Illinois State, and we'll be pulling for you to get another championship in our area. So
that sounds good. Thanks for having me on. I always look forward to it. I was actually totally surprised when I saw you guys over at Stockton a few weeks back. Seems like a long time ago now, but it was only a couple of weeks ago. And just please don't put that camera so close to my face.
I got to get those good cutaways. I got to get those good shots.
That's not a comfortable place for me. And you see these bags under my eyes and all the wrinkles. It's not good for the people that are viewing this show either.
Oh, well. All right. We're going to take a quick break and we'll jump back in with the head coach from Belleville All Tough, Austin Frazier. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.